All right, so good afternoon or good morning. This is going to be my open house PowerPoint video. So welcome to Overmyer's World History class. So once again, welcome. So this is going to be a very new and very unique open house, something that we're all trying to figure out together. So I'm just going to go through a few things that help you as a parent or even the kid kind of see what the class is about and what's going on, things like that. So introduction to the course. For that, I just put the course objectives and I added my own little spin to it. So world history is, for lack of better terms, the study of people, events, places, and documents, art, inventions, literature, and so on and so forth. There's 100 different things we could put in this part that combine to form the human race. This world history course is designed to be a survey course, which will examine a great many aspects of history, but few in great depth. So for example, we have to go through a lot of these civilizations really quickly. So these civilizations or empires may have lasted for several thousand years, but we have to cover them in a span of 3 or 4 weeks. So we're pretty much only hitting the high points and we got to move along to something else. Every once in a while, if we budget correctly, we can dive in depth on something interesting. And so that's going to be the goal here. Examples of these topics would include world geography, which is something we've already did, the rise and fall of empires, globalization, golden age, pandemics, and just thousands of years of life on Earth. One of the more interesting things for me for history is the the life of everyday people and their struggle to survive, their life story, and how they lived on Earth and moved along from there. So every once in a while, we'll dive into stuff like that of like, what was the everyday person's life like? What did they do? Where did they go? Things like that. And always try to make it relevant to today's terms also. So major point of the class is how to turn work in. And for lack of better terms, focus. Pretty much every time. 99% of the time, the work will be submitted on focus. The only other time that it's not is if it's submitted in class, and I will let the kids know in class. And for example, like there'll be notebook checks and things like that that are submitted. But any other time, if a child has to or a student has to turn something in, it will be on focus. I will have it there. I'll have the link embedded to where it's just easy to do that. So if anyone ever has a question about that, student does anything, it's focus almost every time. How to contact me. So open communication is going to be a huge part of this, especially in this uncertain time with hybrid, which is going away, but still the hybrid stuff, and with some students being at home more. And if anyone gets quarantined for 14 days, that's a long time to miss school. So we need to be able to talk between students, parents, and teachers / the school itself. So any way you reach out to me, I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. So these are going to be the two best ways. Is going to be this email address. So it's overmyerd@duvalschools.org. So that's my school email, which I check pretty regularly on almost every hour or so. And then this is also a number that you can text or call. I'm just going to go and be honest. I don't typically answer the calls, especially if it's during school hours. And then even after school, we have things like practice and the amount of time I'm home. Yeah, don't typically answer the calls all that much. So you're welcome to call and leave a message, or you can text it, and I'll almost always respond pretty quickly to text messages and emails. I am a traveling teacher, so I don't have a room telephone number. So this is actually a Google Voice number, which is a different way to communicate using a telephone kind of thing. But that's going to be your best way to get a hold of me is through one of these two means of communication. Tutoring / extra help. So either both, they're available upon request. Right now, everyone's got crazy schedules. I know I do. And we have varying capabilities. We'll do whatever we need to do to make sure your student gets as much help as they need. All they have to do is ask. So I don't know if they're struggling. And so I've had issues before where it's like, oh, well, a student has a low grade in the class. How do you know they weren't struggling? Because a low grade doesn't always mean that they need help. It just, a lot of the time, it's an effort-based thing. But if a student actually needs help completing the work, if they need help understanding, I'm more than happy to help. I need to know. I need someone to reach out, and I'll do my best to help them. We'll try and figure out a time or a place or something that would help with that. Most tutoring, though, I will say is going to probably be online through Teams. We can chat and things like that. But like I said, everything's kind of fluid. It's changing. It's weird right now. But I'll do whatever we need to do to make sure they get as much help as they need. Grading policy. So grades are based on a total number of points. Grades are developed from tests, classwork, achieves, and homework. So for me, the easiest way I break mine down, the more valuable the assignment, the more points. So if we do vocab words, which we haven't done this year yet, we probably will in the future. If 1 week you have 10 vocab words, it's probably only going to be 10 points. Vocab's pretty easy. It's pretty simple. It's pretty basic. 1 point per word. Meanwhile, if you have one 3 weeks later and it's 20 vocab words, it'll be worth 20 points. Still 1 point a word, but pretty low. Meanwhile, if we did short answer questions, it'll probably be 2 or 3 points per question for the whole worksheet, something along those lines. Worksheets or assignments are typically 10, 15, 20, depending on how hard or important they are. Quizzes range anywhere from 25 to 50. Tests range from 50 to 100, because those seem to be the quote unquote most important kind of thing. But that is my grading policy. Next, oh, nope, I clicked something. Next is going to be directions for makeup work and what to do if you are absent. So when a student is absent, it is his or her responsibility to ask for the missed work and then turn it in. There are lots of students every day that are late. I can't remember who all wasn't here the day before. So if a student misses, it's really easy for them to just come up the next day and say, hey, I missed yesterday. What did we do? They can either get it from a friend if it's notes, or if it's a worksheet or some sort of other assignment. I typically keep extra copies with me for a few days. I try to keep them for a whole week, but it's kind of hard because, as I said, I'm a traveler, so I can't like store everything in file cabinets. I have to carry it around in a briefcase and like folders and things like that. So I typically keep 4 to 5 days worth, but once I get to the 5th day, they get shuffled out to the new stuff. But either way, if they ask, I'll do my best to give it to them, email it to them if they're at home and sick, things like that. And the student will receive an extension based on the amount of time that they miss. So if they missed one, so if the students that were in class got it on Monday and it was due on Thursday, that means if a student missed Monday and they got it on Tuesday, they'd get the same 4 days to do it. So they'd get it on Tuesday, it'd be due on Friday. It's the same amount of time. It's just extended based on the amount of time they missed and when they received the assignment. And so that's pretty much it for me. That's my class. That's pretty much all of it. My class is pretty, I wouldn't say simple, but for lack of a better term, simple. It's everything that's normal about school. I try to make it as normal as possible. We try to make things interesting and fun. But in the day, there's not going to be some huge, intricate, different thing that's unique to my class and not unique to others. Mine's pretty common, and it's like that way on purpose, so it's not confusing, and everything can be done and turned in at a reasonable time. But other than that, that is it for my class. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to reach out in one of the 2 ways that I showed you earlier, or feel free to let the student just ask me in class. A lot of times it's way easier to just ask it in person also. But either way, I'll do whatever's needed to be done to help out and make sure they have a successful year. Thank you.